Well, today I am going to be talking about karma, and I am going to start out by talking or how the Buddha taught karma. And I'm basing my talks on the book by Tsultrim Rinpoche on karma. So if you want to know more after the talk, you can always go to his book on karma, what it is, why it's important, and maybe another few words in the title. Now, karma came from Hinduism. And the Buddha, of course, was brought up in the Hindu tradition, but he went off on his own. And so he changed the concept considerably from the way the Hindus interpreted it. And here is a quote of his: "There is no singular governing principle called karma, but many different karmic patterns, karmic propensities, karmic causes and conditions. It is their mutually conditioning influence on each other that produces the life experience we have." And it's amazing how many different ways people can see the same thing. That it's all on your point of view. So we might be in seemingly the same place at the same time. We can have very different interpretations of what's going on in the room, or what's going on in the other person's head. This is what we call samsara. So a good way to observe what's going on is to look at ourselves, pay attention to ourselves, pay attention to how we put an overlay on our experience. The more you know about yourself, the more you will know how you embellish what you experience. Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche once said that the most insidious form of karma is our habitual patterns. And we just overlay our experience on our habitual patterns. And so to two different perspectives of the word tenure. A professor will hear it as tenure. An inmate will hear it as 10 more years to my sentence. Very different reactions. For those of you that weren't here last night, I was a prison chaplain for 8 years. And I gained a lot of valuable experience there. And I will bring that up from time to time as I teach. But to look inward, get to know yourself very, very, very well, and then, of course, to look outward. I talked about this last night, to analyze, to contemplate. That this type of observation is actually the basis for insight meditation, where you start seeing connections and so forth. It's Vipassana meditation. So the more we pay attention to our thoughts, our feelings, our habitual responses, and so, excuse me, breakfast. The more we gain to learning about ourselves, what's going on in the world, and in a way, what actually isn't going on in the world that we've embellished it with. So we start to see these interconnections in our lives, and how we are influenced by these internal factors, how we're influenced by these external factors, and how things are constantly changing. We feel secure when things don't change, but if we look, things are constantly changing. And we don't want to change. We want things to be predictable. And predictable? Well, good luck. Here is a quote from Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche. We fixate on outer phenomena as concrete, permanent, and real. And of course, concrete means solid, not fluid. Of course, I don't know which came first, the term concrete or actual concrete. But concrete is pretty solid. It's not flexible. So that's this idea about our outer phenomena being concrete. Permanent, a Buddhist actually would be a very good insurance salesman. Because things are constantly changing, they're unpredictable. You drove here this morning, on the way home you might get in an accident. Or your engine could be giving you trouble. I used to have a pickup truck last fall. Suddenly the lights went on the dashboard, had no oil pressure, and no oil pressure, and a few other lights went off, and I drove it home because this happened a quarter of a mile from home. And that was the last time I drove that truck. I sold it to my auto mechanic. And I sold it as, this does not run. And I think our houses and our automobiles are very good examples of things being impermanent and outer phenomena being impermanent. And then so real, that's another good term. And here it's meant to be self-existent, inherent existent, or independent existence. And here is what I like to use as an example of this permanent, real, inherent existence. And when I was a little boy in elementary school, the teacher would continually say, if you want to know the meaning of a word or how to spell it, go to the dictionary, look it up. And so the meaning of the word is given in other words. And maybe some of those words I didn't know. So you go to the dictionary and you look up those words, and they're given in more words. There is not a word in the dictionary that is independent of the dictionary. Dictionaries are interdependent. The words are interdependent. And this is the way it is with outer phenomena, and this is the way it is with inner phenomena. So, I don't think I need to say much more about that. The real is a funny term. It appears to be solid, independent, permanent, and so on and so forth, but no, it's all interdependent, and on top of that, it depends on the viewpoint of the observer, what is observed. So there is a singing bowl right there. Don't bring it to me, please. But my parents traveled after they retired, and they brought back a number of things from various parts of the world, and one of them was a singing bowl. It was smaller than that, and the way they used it is Mom had a potted plant that was put inside the singing bowl. Yes. Now, which is right and which is wrong? It's just one point of view. And at Michael's house, if I had a small singing bowl and filled it up with water and put it anywhere, there would be an animal drinking out of it. Right?
Yes, that's true.
So from the animal's point of view, it was something to drink out of. And if I would take a singing bowl to a scrap dealer, the scrap dealer would assess the metal and then weigh it and say it's worth so much money. And of course the money is paper money, which has no value other than what other people place on it. Yeah, well, that's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. And just because it was made as a singing bowl, okay. We can find many different uses, new uses for things that have been made. So we have to realize this, that what we're living in is a world that we are just imputing all kinds of things that aren't really there. In terms of how we develop this self, this idea that we are permanent, concrete, real, and so forth, traditionally they talk about the 5 skandhas, and I don't want to get too complicated here this morning. So I like the way the Karmapa, 17th Karmapa, explains it in The Heart is Noble. And there he uses the term fabricated self. And why I like that is that it's easy to understand. So you fabricate things in a manufacturing plant. And you take parts and pieces and you put them together and you fabricate, let's say, a chair. When we are born, we're given a name by somebody else. We don't choose our name. Now, one of my favorite names was the name of the father of one of my high school friends. My friend was named Jerry First, like who's on first. His father, his given name was Safety. Yeah, he was Safety First. And he became a doctor. Can you imagine going into a new patient? Hi, I'm Dr. Safety First. And him taking you seriously? Some people's parents. And, you know, I thought maybe I was making this up, so I actually Googled this. I was not hallucinating. There was a Dr. Safety First. And this was Tulsa, and that's where I graduated from high school. But so you're given a name, and you associate that's who you are, and then you get information from other people. First, it's your parents, and then it might be nowadays, how old are you before you've got a digital device, playing games and da-da-da-da-da. And you get all kinds of ideas about who you are. And again, this is one of my favorite stories. I went to a wedding many years ago, and there was a little boy and a little girl carrying the bride's train up to the altar. And of course, they were cute. And after that, there was a banquet, and then there was an open mic. And, you know, friends of the bride and groom would speak to the people. And finally, the little boy got up, and he had a very short speech. He said, "I'm cute. I know I'm cute, and I want to thank all of you for telling me I'm cute." And then he put the microphone down. I don't think he feels that way about himself now. A 40-year-old man, I mean, that would be embarrassing. But we develop these ideas about who we are, and we think that that's who we are, and that we don't change. But of course, the Buddha talked about no self. In Hinduism, you had a higher self. The word in probably Sanskrit is Atman. And the Buddha taught an Atman, no Atman. I remember actually having a conversation about this with a doctor down at Mayo Clinic headquarters in Minnesota, and he was from Asia. So this is, our body is made up of parts and pieces. You can analyze it to, cells, hormones, electrical nerve signals, molecules, subatomic particles, da. But where is the self? Yeah, go look for it. You're not going to find it. And as we go through life, the view that we have of ourselves changes. Whether you want to change or not, you have to change. You're not going to be wearing the same clothes, the same style of clothes that you did when you were 16 years old, when you're 40. At least I hope not. It's going to look a little silly. And on and on and on like that. We just keep changing, and we'd never see it. That we think that there's something solid, real, permanent that's throughout all of this, and of course, you're not going to find it. Now, what we do have is, I like a term that Tralik Rinpoche uses, and that is a functional self. a self that knows how to use the self-service gas pump. The question is, of course, that I ask sometimes with a big grin on my face, is if you realize no self, can you use the self-service gas pump? Well, you've got a functional self. You know how to use the self-service gas pump. You know how to read these traffic signs. You know how to start your car or push the button that starts it, and so on and so forth. But you don't have this attachment to a permanent self. And in fact, one time I attended a teaching by a Rinpoche, and the question came up at the end of the teaching about a self, a soul. That was it, a soul. Do we have a soul? And there was a long discussion between the translator and the Rinpoche. Could have gone on for 4 or 5 minutes, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, the translator turned to the person that asked the question and said, "No." Yeah, the Rinpoche wanted to make sure that he understood what soul meant to the person asking the question. So there was this long back and forth, but no. So we're not unique. And consciousness is continuous from one lifetime to the next. And our consciousness is working even when we are sleeping. That's why we have dreams. And it's really good to be able to be mindful and be aware of what's going on during the day, what's going on inside our minds, so that, again, we can get to know ourselves very, very well and not get, you might say, hijacked by this idea of a permanent self. So here is a quote by Tralek Rinpoche. When we say that a certain individual creates karma, it is not meant that an individual with a fixed nature, having a true self, creates it. Karma is cause and effect. And so our actions of body, speech, and mind, you could say they create seeds that are planted in our mind metaphorically. And when the proper conditions are present, the seed sprouts, grows, bears fruit, and then we have to eat the fruit, so to speak. We have no choice at that point. And now, again, going back to Hinduism, in Hinduism, of course, there is the caste structure, and some people are born better than others. And from my understanding of the caste system, it originally was based on the color of the skin. That and the darker your skin, the lower the caste. I see some parallels with that in this country. Maybe you do too. So I'm going to go back to an experience that I had that was very It was very, very enlightening in a more mundane sense of the word. Um, I grew up in 3 different school systems. There were never any minorities in any of these school systems. I went to college and I became friends with a man from Nigeria. And at the end of the year, he was not going home to Nigeria. He was going to go out to the West Coast. And I was my parents were in Tulsa, and I said, well, why did you come down on your way out to California, spend a few days with me in Tulsa? And, well, I really got to see a side of Tulsa that I had never seen before. First of all, they had Booker T. Washington High School in Tulsa. And the ones that I went to, of course, there were no people of color, no Hispanics, no Native Americans. And so I got invited to a party at one of my classmates from high school. And at the last minute I said, well, I have a friend with me and I'm going to bring him. And I said, he's from Africa. Well, that did not go over. She said, that's fine with me, but my mother says. So I didn't go to that party. I liked swimming. And so I took him to a local public swimming pool, and I think we integrated that pool for the first time. And I don't remember a lot of stairs, but quite honestly, I wasn't interested what people thought. But this really, suddenly I realized what was going on that I never really saw before. And I'm kind of getting sidetracked, but I wanted to say this, that it just doesn't make any sense to me that just because you're this way, things are good, and if you're that way, things aren't good. And I don't know, maybe it's my karma, but in 1969, I went to Chicago, stayed with a friend of mine, college friend, in a very rough side of Chicago, and I got arrested for growing and harvesting marijuana when I was taking out the trash. Yeah, so I've been in jail. The precinct station was in the heart of the South Side ghetto of Chicago, and the officers were all white. And so you've got 2 white guys in this jail, and everybody else that's locked up is black. And again, it was a traumatic experience being in that jail, because I witnessed, we witnessed the police entering a cell and beating up a prisoner, where you would hear and then a crash as the body hit the steel plate of the cell. I didn't think that was fair either. Fortunately, they did a lab test on the weeds that the police filled up their trunk with and found out that they were just legal weeds. I got off, but so that's part of my karma too. I don't think it was just total accident that I happened to be at the wrong place at the right time. But it did help me see a side of the world, a side of life that I had not seen before. And I feel these experiences are very valuable because they have brought me to where I am today. I don't look at them as, oh, this is a pile of crap. And when I started when I started studying Buddhism, it was with Chogyam Krumpa's Sangha, and he would use the phrase, the manure of our experience. And as if you're a gardener, you probably go to the farm store and you buy manure, pay for it. And if we look at our lives, we are rich in resources and we haven't yet had to buy it. So that's also important to remember, that what we are experiencing can be very, very valuable and useful. And it's how we look at things. If you look at it as a resource, as manure, a resource for growth, good. If you look at it as a pile of the four-letter S word, it's a problem. And you can get depressed and feel really bad and so forth about it. But we can use these difficulties in life in very productive ways. Because any action that we have of body, speech, and mind plants seeds, the karma is interdependent, and it can be diffuse. And you can't really say, well, this happened to me because I did that. And our reaction to whatever arises due to karma will leave more karmic imprints until you're enlightened, and then you're free of karma. One of the Tibetan words for a sentient being is karma carrier. That's a translation. That sentient beings are karma carriers. We've got a lot of it. And if it were a physical, material thing, I could fill up the universe with one's karma. But of course it's not. So to go on here, Tralik Rinpoche uses the term elastic, that our karma is elastic because of the variety of actions that we have engaged in over our present lifetime and then past lives. And he goes on to say that the Buddha talked about the importance of the state of mind that we are in when we are dying, that's a very, very important factor. And again, if we can understand our karmic conditioning, the way we think, the way we view experiences and so forth, that this can be very, very important. And at the time of death, if you have a positive state of mind, you can have very good outcomes. And if you are full of fear and attached to things in this life, it can be very difficult. If you can't let go, then it can be very, very difficult in terms of your transition to this life and the next one. Tralik Rinpoche says that the Buddha talked about karma is that we are responsible for our actions in this life. That blame doesn't get you anywhere. We can't say, well, I did this because so-and-so made me angry. Might sound good, but that's just samsaric thinking, and it doesn't get you to first base. And the other is that and I mentioned this already, that the consequences of our actions, when the karma ripens, it's not fixed. We could have many different possible outcomes from positive or negative behavior. And fortunately, because of impermanence, we can change. Because of impermanence, we can always change. And in fact, something that I like and find very helpful is that we can experience adversity, and resiliency is a measure of how quickly, you might say, you bounce back from the adversity. But you can actually bounce forward. In other words, learn from the adversity and become a better person, a wiser person as a result of the adversity. So, we don't have to feel that, well, this is the way I am, this is the way I was born, I can't do anything about it, That's all. That is just basically saying, I don't want to change. So here is another quote from Tralag Rinpoche. The whole point of our existence is to learn to see things in a different light, to feel things in a different way. So selflessness is a very, very important ingredient in us progressing on the path. And if we can I think the Dalai Lama has said this, that if you can improve 1% in this lifetime, you're doing good. You're improving, you're going up. Whatever we experience in life, whatever we meet in life, what's most important is how we work with it. That is the most important thing. And superficial changes can have a deep effect over time. This is my example, and I like to use things from Western culture rather than things that maybe a Westerner can't quite wrap their mind around. We're just sending up some people in space to the moon. But let's say they are going to send a probe to a moon of Saturn. And after it gets launched, before it leaves the Earth gravity, or maybe right afterwards, they'll make some adjustments. It'll be minor adjustments, but a minor adjustment in a trajectory at that point can make a huge difference of where it is 3 or 5 years later. And so it is with us. If we make a minor adjustment now, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, it might make a huge difference in your life. And when I was working at the prison, I thought one of the most important parts of my job was to plant seeds that might not sprout until perhaps even a future lifetime. I wasn't looking for it. I want you to change right now. But I did see some of that too. it was rare, but I did see some of that too. So our motivation is extremely important in terms of karma. And the best motivation, of course, is bodhisattva motivation, bodhicitta, being motivated to benefit other people. And if you're benefiting other people, you're automatically benefiting yourself. One way or another, you're benefiting yourself. This is very, very, very important, that when we are benefiting other people, well, there have been studies made that, I was talking about this at breakfast time, that they'll take a group of people, probably college students, they make good test subjects, and they will give them a happiness test and then divide them into two groups. Both groups get $100 cash. One group, you have to go out and spend this on yourself. The other group is you have to go out and spend it on somebody else. And then when they're done, don't have any more cash, they come back and give them another happiness test. And guess which group is the happiest? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And this study can be replicated and you get the same results. So when we are motivated to benefit other people, we benefit from it too. I actually majored in sociology, and quite honestly, I found that Buddhism has better answers. Yes, I'm a Buddhist monk, not a sociologist. But this is important, that there are so many factors that we need to be aware of, the way we react and so forth. And there are factors that can cause us to feel good. One of them is gratitude, grateful to what we have. And it's easy in this country to see everything you don't have. That this country is full of things that we don't have, stores full of stuff that we don't have. And that just keeps you in this poverty mentality of, I need to have this to be happy, I need to have that to be happy. I need to bring my car home full of stuff. Well, you might be happy for a little time, but then after that, I need more. And more, and more, and you're never really content. So this is very, very important to not fall into that trap and develop this karma of the habitual pattern of I need more, 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 more. The interesting thing about the term dharma is that it has many different meanings, but one of the meanings is that it sheds light on outer phenomena and helps us see interdependent arising, that things come into being because of a number of different factors, and that things are intertwined, are complicated in a way, and that our emotions, our feelings, and so forth, inner phenomena are intertwined and complicated. They have the term ordinary mind. An ordinary mind is this mind that is not complicated. It's ordinary. Have you ever heard someone say when they experience some difficulty, perhaps at work, I need to reinvent myself? Yeah, I can see some looks that recognition here. Well, what this statement is based on is you're already an invention. Go figure. You say that and you don't really realize what you've just said. And what Buddhism leads you to is to uninvent yourself, that fabricated self, to uninvent that, and what's left is a very ordinary mind, because you're not embellishing it. You're not adding on all these other things to it. So forget about reinventing yourself. So I'm going to go right back to mindfulness. Paying attention to what is going on, the little details of life. And seeing how thoughts arise in our mind, how we attach to them, how we like to go certain places in terms of emotions, moods, and so forth. We like to go where we're comfortable. And we can go from being having a very complicated mind to having a very simple, ordinary mind. One that is content and so forth. It's good to be spacious, too. Spacious meaning that there is room for you to, and this goes back to what I was talking about last night, room to see new possibilities. See that there are a lot of different ways to look at things. You have a statue. Maybe it's a statue of a Buddha, but it could be just a statue in a museum, or a mundane statue that you bought and brought home. And if you're in front of the statue, looking at the front of the statue, you get one viewpoint. You can move over to the side and you see something different. You get behind and you see something different. And being spacious in your mind means that you can see from these different perspectives, and you see things differently, and you feel that you see possibilities that you didn't know were there. Mingyur Rinpoche says that this was advice his father gave him. You're walking on a path and you come across a stone wall. And if you're going to continue on the path, you have to get over that wall. The advice his father gave him is, first you throw your backpack over the wall, because then you have to go get your backpack. You're not going to leave without that backpack. So Now you're going to find a way to get around the wall, under the wall, through the wall, or whatever. You're going to find a way to get your backpack. So mindfulness, paying attention, and so forth is important. Now, the Buddha made a point of distinguishing between reincarnation and rebirth. Reincarnation has the implication that somehow or another it's the same person. And rebirth is, well, you have a new body and you're different. I Googled my name a few years ago, and in fact, I emailed this to Michael here. My birth name was John Samuelson. That's my legal name. And I came up across Samuelson's Rock. And it was a carving on a rock in English. And at the bottom it said John Samuelson, 1927. Now that would be reincarnation. It wasn't me. So we are reborn, but we're not a duplicate of who we were in our previous life. And there is a continuity here, but it is not this cookie cutters, so to speak. It's the same cookie. So because of karma being so complicated and interdependent and so forth, that we are going to be considerably different in our next life. Now, the best thing about all of this is that karma can be purified. That's very important, that we can purify the karma, we can free ourselves from the karma. And also, things like illness burns up karma. But, so the Buddha talked about this too, that we can purify our karma. We don't have to be, look at ourselves as, you might say, victims of our karma. It can be purified, and there are lots of ways to do it. One would be, of course, with the Vajrasattva practice in Nundro, the Vajrasattva mantra. I don't know, where each of you people that are here or listening are, but that's one way to do it. You can do a simple, excuse me, I suppose I should drink this too before it gets cold. But if I drink it with this hand, I'll be in the way of the camera.
That's okay. It's okay.
But there are many different ways to purify karma. There are simple confession prayers. You can make up your own confession prayer. I have a simple rule or memory trick. It's not a rule, it's a memory trick. I'm not sure what the Tibetan words are, but I call it the 4 R's. When you were in school, you had the 3 R's. The first is reliance. So it would be on Yalwan Karmapa, your teacher, the Buddha, perhaps a deity. Visualize them in front of yourself. And then regret is the second R. Well, I did something and I regret it. Which is different than guilt. Guilt is feeling that yeah, I did it, and I'm a bad person because I'm a bad person. Da 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 da. You know, that inner voice, that inner critic that we all have. So remorse, not guilt. The third is the remedy. That's the third R. And the remedy could be just saying, I did this, I regret it, I have tremendous regret, da 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 da. But there are confession prayers. There are lots of them out there. Some are short, some of them are long. There's Vajrasattva practice you could do. There's a short Vajrasattva mantra, which is Om Benza Sato Om. You might even be able to remember that. You know, say that 108 times. And then the fourth R is resolve, which is, I resolve to not do this again. And since it's a habitual pattern, you're going to do it again. So then you go back to the first R and do it all over again. I think you've all heard that in Tibetan Buddhism, repetition is encouraged. So those are what you can do to help purify my watch. Even though I put it on airplane mode, the watch is vibrating. Sometimes I'm too connected. Anyway, let me see here. The Buddha also talked about mutual karmic experience. And so you could say that right now this country is experiencing the ripening of a lot of karma. And it ain't good that there's just so much anger in the country right now. So much of I'm here and I'm against that side. And that side is I am here and I'm against that side. And so that would be mutual karmic experience. And so you might say our karma for the country is right now ripening. And if the one thing that we can do is not put more negative karma into the situation. It might be as simple as yes, yeah, you got the idea. Just kind of not saying anything. But on the other hand, I was very impressed with these monks that walked from Dallas to Washington, D.C. And they demonstrated how just manifesting peacefully in this country really inspired a lot of people. I was very impressed with what I saw in the newspaper and on YouTube videos and so forth, that they had a very positive influence on many, many people. And we can, even if there's a lot of negativity ripening, we can maintain a position of not adding to the negativity and maybe just being calm and peaceful. And that can influence people. Again, don't expect instantaneous change, but it can influence people. I told a story about my brother and how he felt about Islam. last night? Well, I met with my brother, would have been last Tuesday. And again, he talked a little bit about Islam and Iran and da 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 da. But then he stopped. I didn't say anything. I just kind of listened to him, and then he stopped. And then he or his wife started asking me about Buddhism, which they'd never done before. And then we had a discussion. And I brought up the monks that were walking to Washington, D.C. And it was a good discussion. So we don't have to feel that there's nothing that I can do about this. This is da 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 da. We have a lot of freedom. We have free will. And if our minds are open, we can start seeing possibilities that a closed mind will not see. I saw a bumper sticker once, and it said, the mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Wisdom on a bumper sticker. And yeah, if we have an open mind, that our minds work a lot better. We see things more clearly, see more possibilities. And of course, underneath it all is love, loving kindness, compassion that we can express to other people. And again, it doesn't have to be, oh, I love you, da 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 da. I didn't talk that way to inmates. I had to be professional. And I think it would have made them very uncomfortable if I started going around saying, oh, I love you. Men just don't talk that way, even here in the South, I suspect. I will say this is an observation. When I go to a restaurant up north, the waitress doesn't call me sweetie. Here, I get that, and I'm not complaining. But the way we respond can make a big difference in people's lives, and we can respond in a spacious way with an open mind. And our body language, even the tone of our voice, communicates a lot. And it can communicate kindness, communicate compassion and caring about other people without using the actual words. I once met an inmate that had been released. He was a shuttle driver. I take the shuttle sometimes to the airport. And so I landed in the Minneapolis airport, went over, checked my bag, and I didn't recognize him, but he said, come over here, I need to talk. I'd like to talk to you in more private. So then he introduced himself by name, and then immediately I recognized him. And he said a number of things that were very kind. But what he said that I think was the most important thing was, one thing that all of us men knew is that you cared about us. And it wasn't that I was telling them, I care about you, but I acted like I cared about them. And we can act like we care about other people. We can act like we care about ourselves. And so we can act where we can free ourselves from karmic habitual patterns. And that's really what I'm trying to convey today is that we have a lot of freedom, even though there is karma. Here is a quote by Tralik Rinpoche. Exercising free will means to be capable of going against these determinants of whatever variety and being able to surmount these obstacles. So don't feel like you're a prisoner of your karma. And he talks about how we are a process, that there's this continuity, and we're constantly becoming. We're constantly becoming. And that we have this ability to lead ourselves into becoming in a more positive direction. We don't have to feel like I was born into this country at such and such a time, and there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, we're a process, and just because we're at this place now doesn't mean we have to stay there. We could continue going up. So I have here next in my notes that virtuous actions are extremely important in planting good karmic seeds, and that there are three supports to virtuous actions: morality and ethics, and then patience, understanding. Patience and effort go together, and they are part of morality. And again, I was thinking this the other day, how easy it is for me to be patient with my own kleshas, and how easy it is to be impatient with what I perceive are faults of other people. Now, maybe you're different than me. But anyway, I would recommend looking at that. In fact, it's interesting that the people that I sometimes find irritated by tend to have the same faults that I have. They're acting like me. So I use that as a clue. Maybe I should take a time out here and look within. Meditation is another factor of supporting virtue, that being able to focus our minds and keep it placed on what we have focused on. That's very important, instead of just all flitting about from here to there, and having this instability. And then the third factor is wisdom. At least understanding, if not the actual experience, that there is no self, there is no actor. But even if you have that in mind from time to time, that will help us. if you focus on those three things, that you will be going the right direction. You will develop character. You know, you will feel good about yourself. Your self-image will be good. But it's not a prideful self-image. It's just realizing that you have Buddha nature, that you can change, you can go in a good direction, you can travel the path. You're not helpless, hopeless, and so forth. Now here is another important point, and that is we can wear our karma down. We don't have to eliminate it all at once. You can wear it out like an old pair of jeans that you can wear out karma, and meditation is a good way to do that. Learning how, when thought comes to your mind, letting go of it, as opposed to grabbing onto it and giving it lots and lots of importance. We can have endless thoughts in our mind. And so the idea is wearing it down, avoiding creating more karma, and then eventually transcending karma. Now, I talked about motivation. So we have three aspects of karma. The intention to do something, the action, and then the third is rejoicing. So if you have the intention to do something virtuous, then you do it, and then afterwards you rejoice in that, you accumulate the most karma. And if you have the intention to do something harmful, you do it, and then afterwards you rejoice in having done something harmful. You've created a lot of negative karma. So where I live, in the summertime, and I'm sure it's no different here, you drive a car in the country and your windshield looks like the graveyard of hundreds, if not thousands, of insects. But I didn't drive to go out there and kill insects, so I don't have the motivation. And I'm not rejoicing. In fact, I'm having to clean my windshield. So that means that the dead insects on the front of my car, I'm not accumulating a tremendous negative karma, a little bit. So it's very good to avoid rejoicing when you do something negative. And it's even better if you're not motivated to do something negative. And it's very good if you're motivated to do virtuous action, you do it, and then after that, dedicate the merit. Rejoice. Let me see what time it is here. We've got a little 35 minutes according to my computer, and it's supposed to be accurate. So we want to be determined to change, to improve, and eventually exhaust our karma. So I'm going to end my talk with a quote by Rinpoche, There's no singular governing principle called karma, but maybe I had this earlier in the talk. I think so. I had it twice in my talk. Forget it. Forget what I just said. Remember it when I said it earlier. Any questions?
You mentioned that pain can exhaust karma, or?
Yeah. Illness can purify karma.
Oh, purify, okay, yeah. So,
Yeah.
because I've been in a lot of pain lately,
Mhm.
and that's been kind of, I've been trying to turn it into my practice, like focusing on the pain and just kind of sitting with it.
Yeah.
So are you saying that I'm in pain, that's part of my karma, and so just because I have that, it's purifying my karma? Is that what?
Yes, that.
Okay.
Yeah. Not purifying all of your karma.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Yeah. But it's definitely purifying some of it because you're experiencing the ripening of karma.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do have a question, but real quick, it's hard for us to hear what people
Oh.
are asking in here, and it's nobody's fault, but if, I don't know if there's a way to paraphrase the question that somebody asked, so we could.
Sure.
Okay. And of course I got distracted. Oh, I have a story about intention. I forget his name, but it was Kempo Ujin's nephew when he came to the United States for the first time, and
Uh-huh.
he was translating for him. I wish I could remember his name, but he was just telling a story about how he was so hungry, and he got on the train and he found a place to get a sandwich. He got a sandwich, and this was like in India, and he opened it up, and there was ants all over it. He's like, and I mentioned, well, well, this is good because the ants got to eat something. But he's like, that wasn't my intention. So anyways, that was.
Yeah. Yeah, you all heard that, didn't you? You notice I said y'all? Yes.
I was really interested. Thank you, by the way, for your teachings. They're wonderful. I was interested at the very beginning when you mentioned the term functional self,
Yeah.
and it kind of made me think of the debate that occurred in the original Sangha, as you mentioned also about self, no self. What is it? Is it self or is it no self? That's the question they would pose to the Buddha all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he would say over and over again, I think I'm saying this right, he would say over again, it's neither self and it's neither non-self, period. He would just end it at that.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering where the term functional self came from. Could it have come from Nagarjuna, who was the creator of the middle way? Could that be a middle way doctrine?
All I know is that
It's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I got this from Traleg Rinpoche.
Yeah.
I don't know where he got it from.
Okay. It
So
sounds like something from Nagarjuna.
it could be, but I do
Yeah.
not know.
Okay.
Now you've got me curious where it came from.
Okay.
But I do not know, but I like it because it explains it
Yeah.
quite clearly.
I'll see if I can do some research tonight and maybe come up with an answer for you.
Sure, yeah,
See if I can
nowadays
find
you
it.
just Google it.
Yeah.
Functional self, Nagarjuna,
Yeah.
what comes up? Who knows?
Thank you.
To me, it feels like there's no middle way in these times. I suppose it's just part of my own journey.
Mm-hmm.
But
Say that last part again.
Mountains or valleys.
Mountains or valley. Yeah, he was saying that nowadays it seems like there's no middle way, mountains or valleys. And is that a question or just a comment?
I don't know if you had any jazz.
What's that?
I didn't know if you had a jazz to it.
Yeah, so he's not, I believe you were asking me to perhaps add something to that or make a comment on that. Yeah, you talk very quietly.
My apologies.
Oh.
The doorway's been
Modified? Yeah, anyway, that's all right. Yeah, it's very polarized today, but we don't have to buy into the polarization. We don't have to take sides. We can be for peace. We're Buddhist. We can be for compassion, kindness, loving kindness, and so forth. And we can do it, we can, you might say, convey it in such a way that it doesn't trigger other people. And I'm using triggered purposely because it's, so many people, they're already cocked, just waiting for that. And, well, like I was having this discussion with my brother, and I could have started trying to contradict him about what he was saying about Iran and how we had to invade Iran and da 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 da. I didn't say much of anything. And then he quit talking that way, and I mentioned the Buddhist monks that had walked Washington and how they were peaceful. And I talked about peace. I talked a little bit about Buddhism to him. I was careful what I said. When I'm talking to other people about Buddhism, I try to keep it simple and short. And if they want to know more, they're going to ask another question. And if they don't ask another question, I try not to say too much more because they're not going to be listening. So there's a little bit of my advice. But again, so much can be conveyed with body language, the tone of our voice, and so forth, and listening. Here is an ordinary samsaric argument. I'm right. I'm not going to change my mind. But I have the amazing ability to change your mind. I'm right. I'm not going to change my mind, but I have the amazing ability to change your mind. And then we're off to samsara. And so you have to kind of give up the idea of, I'm going to change your mind. You can just maybe help the other person to open up. I've had a number of very interesting interactions with Jehovah's Witnesses at my place. And there was this one group that they kept coming back. I'm dressed in my monastic robes. They know I'm a Buddhist. At one point, they came back and invited me out to lunch and paid for it. And one of them said, "You're a wise man." It was that kind of level of respect. Another time, it was a totally different group. We had quite a conversation, and finally, after about 20 minutes, they asked, "What do I believe?" And I said, well, I believe that we're responsible for our own actions. We have to behave a certain way. We have to behave morally. Love and compassion are extremely important. and a few other things like that, but I never mentioned the B word. And this one man was just agreeing with everything that I said, and then finally I said, I'm a Buddhist. So Jehovah's Witnesses, they're people too. And again, it's how you relate to them, and sometimes you can have a positive relationship, sometimes maybe not. Does that help?
Certainly. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Lama, I used to be with the Jehovah's Witnesses, but then since I got exposed to the Buddhist, Buddhism, it's kind of funny how I'm gonna put this, but Buddhism appealed more to my intellect than Jehovah's Witnesses.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of felt that this is where I should be, Buddhism. Because
Yeah.
it makes more sense.
I think you made a good choice.
So where do you want it?
Yeah. And my own trip was, I went from medication to meditation.
Mhm.
And I like meditation better than medication.
Yeah.
Yes.
It seems a lot of the ways to work with karma, we have to have some practice to add stability to be able to do that. Either meditation, mindfulness, to begin to be able to say, okay, you know, I can see what I'm doing when I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be so difficult in the world today because people are constantly being pulled towards addictive things like electronics and phones and whatnot. What do you suggest when people get caught up in the world and begin to get pulled away from their practice or their meditation? How do we bring ourselves back when we're having difficulties?
Yeah. So what he said was that it seems that people so caught up in the world through partially various things like cell phones, games, and all kinds of other distractions that they get pulled away from their meditation practice. And it's no question about it that samsara can suck you in. And it can be difficult for people to realize this because it's so entertaining. And even when you're meditating, you can be very entertained by your thoughts when you're meditating. And 30 minutes later, you're still being entertained by your thoughts. What comes to mind is to remind them, are you happy? Do you feel content? Does all this busyness really leave you feeling that you've accomplished something? Last year in Gainesville, I had one of the members of the Sangha there who plays guitar. I don't know, do you know any member of this Sangha that plays guitar?
There might be one or two.
Yeah, well, I had him play and sing Satisfied Mind. Are you familiar with that one?
Yes, I don't know how to play it, but I know what song you're referring to.
Yeah. It's been done by a lot of people, and it goes something like, once I was waiting in wealth and fame, all the things that I needed to get a start in life's game. But suddenly it happened. I lost every dime, but I'm richer by far with a satisfied mind. And you're fortunate I didn't sing it. And even more that I didn't play it on the guitar. But that's what I did down in Gainesville. And the idea is that we can get so distracted on chasing after fortune, fame, entertainment. I once asked a person, "Are you happy?" And this was a person that gets easily distracted. The answer was, happiness is such a vague concept. That was the answer. I'm not making this up. Happiness is such a vague concept. I don't think that person understood happiness. I don't think they knew what it was. So sometimes, being samsara, some people, they're just not going to understand. I wish I could give you a better answer.
No, that was good. We've got to keep reminding them, are you truly happy with the path you're on?
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, go ahead, Wayne back.
So how exactly does illness purify karma?
Well,
Like from a Chinese medicine or even an Ayurvedic perspective, an illness would signal an imbalance in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So can you say more about how it's purifying?
Well, I can't talk about it a lot from the Ayurvedic point of view, but the fact is, most illness, if not all illness, is brought about by causes and conditions. And those causes and conditions are usually a result of karma, about our past actions. And again, since karma is diffuse, you can't say that this action caused that condition. But in most cases, illness does have causes and conditions that are related to karma. Does that help?
Yeah, so like if, I don't know, if I really hurt somebody else for years and years and years, and then there's an illness that I have to go through for years and years and years, it would be like I'm paying for what I did previously?
It might be that, or it might be that you did a number of different things in a past life. And all of these things are enough to, you might say, push you over the edge in terms of that illness. Because again, traditionally the Tibetans talk about how you do this and you experience that. And Tralik Rinpoche says it's really not that simple, that karma is a collection, and that this result probably has a number of different factors that are causing that result.
So we could do karmic cleanup for this life and possibly many lives with this one life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it sounds like it's not always clear which karma you're cleaning up.
Right, and that's why the Vajrasattva practice is really good, because it's kind of an all-purpose cleaner. You know, what is that, 409? Yeah, it's not. It's not a specific thing that you're, but you can, if you want, when you start the practice, think, I'm doing it for this reason, because I did that. But it's usually used just as an all-purpose across the board.
So would a signal that you've cleaned up a significant amount of karma if you have a pretty challenging health condition, like I don't know, kidney failure or something like that? If you've cleaned up the karma, dealt with things with body imbalances and bringing the body back into balance, then healed kidneys?
Yeah. So I think most lamas wouldn't talk about themselves, but I'm going to talk about myself. I used to do a practice when I was younger, and my body was better, called Nyungne, or Thousand Arm Chenrezi. And it was started by a woman in India that cured herself of leprosy. And it's known for its health benefits. So I started doing and leading at my center 8 of these in a row. It's a total of 17 days. And it has periods of fasting, extreme fasting. Probably most people would consider it extreme fasting. The first day you eat 1 meal at noon. That's it for solid food. And you can drink thin liquids. The next day, starting at 10 o'clock at night, no liquids, no solid foods. The next day, no liquids, no solid foods. The next day, at about 7 in the morning, you can have liquids. Then a solid meal at noon, all you can eat, and so forth for 8 cycles. Before I went in, I saw my yearly checkup with a cardiologist. I had a pacemaker at this time. The cardiologist said, you should see a heart surgeon about possible heart surgery. And so I made an appointment with a heart surgeon, sent him, had the hospital, the medical clinic send him the ultrasound of the heart echocardiogram that was done, that this doctor based his opinion on. And 6 months later, then I saw this doctor. So in between, I did this Nyungne practice, 17 days of it. Then when I saw the doctor, he had his technician do another echocardiogram. He looked at that and he said, your heart's improved, you don't need heart surgery. What happened? I said, well, I did a Nyungne or 2. And of course it was like, it didn't make sense to him. But that's what the doctor said, is that I don't need it, and I've yet to have heart surgery. I think it was my mitral valve. And I have a second pacemaker put in to replace the first one. Now, if you know anything about hearts, the mitral valve now, it was severe regurgitation before the new pacemaker was put in. Now it's trivial regurgitation. The ejection fraction is how much blood gets pumped through the body. Before they put the new one in, it was down to 30. Now it's 64. Yeah. there's a reason why I'm out traveling around, is that, and the left ventricle went from severely enlarged to normal. And part of that, of course, was the new pacemaker, but I've had other benefits, health benefits, that the doctors can't explain. And in fact, the doctor put the new pacemaker in. He said, there's a technical medical term for you, and it's a super responder. So I didn't argue with him. And that was done in, I think it was 2021 is when they put the new pacemaker in. So I feel a lot of health benefits from the Dharma and Dharma practices. I was hospitalized for 5 weeks, starting last September. Khenpo Ujin came out to my hospital. He made a special flight out to my hospital bed and did some practices. He's known as having the ability to heal. And after that, I started to heal. And as you can see, here I am. And I was in critical condition. And at one point, they said I was in catastrophic condition, and they're asking me for my advance directive. I had a feeding tube, I had dialysis, I had all kinds of things. Oxygen. Basically, my body was shutting down. Here I am. So I recommend practice. I recommend the Dharma. Yeah. So that's my personal experience. And I'm attached to my pacemaker. But I think it's a good attachment. Any other questions? Well, I think I've got about 8 minutes to noon. We can dedicate the merit. And are there anybody that you would like individually to dedicate the merit to? Yeah, go ahead, say the name.
I would like to dedicate it to Paisley, who is just recently got a lung transplant, to Lillian Navardo, to William Langston, and Maya and Paul.
I would like to add Melody Connolly. She's a relative of mine. She has numerous serious health problems. Melody Connolly.
Okay. Next.
I'd like to add Misty and Tyler and Marco.
Okay.
Yohanan.
Thank you. Go ahead, way in the back.
Christy Bourne, she's a friend who's had surgery and fell.
Okay. Did I hear some?
Lama Social Nelson.
Yeah, that's right. He had a stroke in India.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
These are names from our medicine Buddha list. His Holiness Karmapa Origin Chunli Dorje, Venerable Khenpo Kartha Rinpoche, KTC Jackson Sangha, Professor John, Ingrid, Kathy, Lee, Kelson, Sandra, Ocean of Merit, Bonnie Lama and Kim family, Ashley Combs, fundraising for Seabrook, Doris Turnquist, all affected by adverse weather, Long 10, Carrie Sieber, Casey, Yokanan, Amy Orlo, Kenny and Navardo, Tyler and Navardo, Sina Agostinelli, Rebecca Walker, Andrew King, Navardo, Rudy, Corette Patel, Jonesy the cat in the Bardo, Sugar the cat in the Bardo, Sensei Claude Bartholomew in the Bardo, Eric Raymond Langglass, Annie, and Jeff.
Okay. Go ahead.
I added them on the list, but Faye Adams, Dave Adams, Diane Bragg, Louis Adams, our cat Wurlitzer, who's hurting right now, and a group of my friends that collectively call ourselves the bookstore babes. A lot of mental and physical things going on with them.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Well, I don't have the prayer book here, so Michael, why don't you lead the prayers? Oh, I have a prayer book. Just appeared.
I'm sneaky.
Before we close the morning session, thank you, Lama Yeshe, for some excellent teaching. I'd like to begin by reciting a general prayer for the Lama's long life. This is found 3 pages from the back of our text. It's marked as page 7 at the very bottom. And then that will be followed by dedication of merit, and then praise to the Buddha activity of the Jawa Karmapa, who is the head of our village.
Okay.
O Lama Gudam Zalwa Sovadam Chatur Sharing La Sovadam Tren Leda Jingila Sovadam Ramadam Rewa Me Parjinjilo Alilama Javitin Padam Yaya Yomani Hijunwadam Dajen Vadu Sosariyanye Yerdus Andreza Gurasho Sanjay Gosung Yevijin Madam Shani Mingyur Vijin Madam Yendun Nichedun Vijin Lakim Jitayo Amulam Drudyochik Yapapawajitakem Padam Gotuzampodeyan Dejente Edalunge Yesudampoching Kewadida
Communication with His Holiness.
Thank you, Joseph. I'll share this morning in English. By the merit I have gathered in the 3 times,
By the merit I have gathered in the 3 times,
the aspirations of all Kajus,
the aspirations of all Kajus,
however many there are,
however many there are,
and the aid and activity of the Dharma protectors,
and the aid and activity of the Dharma protectors.
May the teachings of the practice lineage
May the teachings of the practice lineage
blaze in all directions.
Blaze in all directions.
So